Yes, that is. That is Jesse Cox. I'm not Jesse Cox. I'm the other guy. That's just when I met Jesse Cox recently.
Oh, that's right. He went to what? Did he have his own CoxCon?
He had CoxCon, yeah. Well, it was because GemuCon wasn't going on,
Oh, that's
and he
right.
was booked to be there,
Yeah,
and that all
yeah.
kind of fell through, and he felt really bad because he knew a lot of people had bought like train fares and plane tickets and
Just to see him.
booked
Yeah, yeah.
hotel rooms and stuff to go and see him, and now it wasn't happening. So he felt that he should put something else on.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Um, and he did, and he was. I mean, fair play to the guy. I mean, I know like not everyone likes his content particularly or whatever, but
What? I do.
yeah, I do.
Yeah, he is classic Let's Play content.
Yeah, but fair play to the guy. He stood in a hot, sweaty room for I don't know, probably 6 hours, just signing stuff and having photos taken, and just meeting fans that had been there to see him. And that
Wow.
was, that was incredible. I don't know many other people that would do that.
No, no, not at
Really.
all. I mean, for their fans,
Yeah.
no, no. But yeah, I saw his video. He felt really bad about
Yep.
how GemuCon just fell through.
Yep. He was.
Um,
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was great. I mean, I met him the year previous when GamerCon was still on, and he went to the Hobbit pub in Southampton. And I met him down there as well,
hmm.
and Dodger was there as well, so I got to meet her too, which was cool. But I felt really bad for Dodger because she's so tiny. I mean, I'm not the tallest guy in the world, but she was shorter than me, and she was just surrounded by these giant nerds. Like it was almost like a mosh pit around her. It was crazy, and she barely had enough room to move, let alone breathe. And they were just all looming over, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is going to turn into something awful very soon if someone doesn't do something about this." Oh dear, but yeah, it was great fun. It was great fun.
All right. Um,
Yes, she is tiny, and I imagine compared to you, she would be even tinier. Yeah.
okay. All right. Ready? Everyone ready to get started?
Yes.
All right. This one's for the YouTubes. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. SuperVin47 here, bringing you an as of yet unnamed collectible card game podcast with my co-host MattSparks.
Hello, peeps. How's it going? It's good to be here.
Time to talk about Happy As you may notice in the lower left-hand corner, I'm streaming this live on hitbox.tv/SuperVin47. Hey Suki, how's it going?
Oh, she's lurking.
Oh no.
That means we can't talk about her.
Oh, okay, okay. Shh, shh, shh. So I'm here to bring you this is the pilot episode of our collectible card game podcast where we talk about Hearthstone et extra. So,
Yep.
what are we doing today, Matt?
Well, I think we should kick off with our thoughts of the recent expansion,
Yes,
which you haven't finished.
I have not finished it. Good start, Vin. Good start. I'm not even
I wasn't gonna bring it up, but then I thought I kind of have to bring it up.
kind of have to bring it up because it's good to see right here. I don't even have the money to buy Frostworm, so you must be like, God, what are you doing?
Yes, Andres, Hearthstone's out of beta. Very funny.
Well, I do have Magic the Gathering cards. I was actually just asking Matt. Do any of you guys know if the Magic the Gathering game on Steam, the Duels of the Planewalker, if that is region locked or not?
Yeah, because the problem we've got at the moment is that I'm playing on European
yeah.
servers and you're playing on American servers, and for some reason you can't play
It's
with
freaking.
each other.
It's freaking the end of 2014.
Yeah, I know. I even started playing on American servers with a whole like new thing, because if you switch, because there's a thing on the BattleNet app
Oh.
that allows you to switch your region. So I thought, I'll just switch region to US, and I'll have to start again as far as like building my decks and stuff is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be able to play with people and add people to my friends list that are on the US side.
Yeah.
You still can't add people to your friends list because your friends list is still
It's based in EU.
Europe.
Ow.
So it's like, well, what's the point then? Well, there's absolutely no point at all for me to play on the US because I still can't play with you. I still can't like challenge you or anything because I have to do that through my friends list.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not ideal, and I hope that they change that at some point in the future. But
well, I believe currently there's a lot of interchangeability between the US, Asian, and the European servers, simply because there are different levels of difficulty between the three of them.
oh really?
I think right now on European ladder is considered the most difficult, either European or Asian. All I know is that North American ladder is the easiest of the three.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, to be honest, I did. Bearing in mind, I didn't spend any money on the US, my US kind of account.
Mm-hmm.
I did manage to get to sort of like rank 15 with just basic cards without having to try too hard.
See
So-
what I mean? North America is just getting shit on
Yeah.
by the rest of the world.
But don't get me wrong though, there are a lot of good players from the US.
I am not one
But
of them.
I've seen a lot more kind of getting the limelight from Europe.
Mm-hmm. I think Europeans are really competing with the Asians for top difficulty. Yeah.
You could be-
Pretty
be
pretty
right.
much.
Yeah.
America's easy mode. Because we have all the tryhards are out in Europe, and the Asians going to be Asians.
Well, yeah, but they're going to be good at anything, really, aren't they?
That is the case in League of Legends and Guild Wars 2.
And StarCraft 2, and
It's slightly different with StarCraft because you have Asia and then you have South Korea. South Korea is its own region of skill.
they were so good that they just had to be taken out of Asia and left.
It was South Korea is the mantis shrimp of Asia. You can't leave it in with the rest of the Asians because then they would just devour the whole aquarium. America, why are you so bad? Because McDonald's. No, I didn't say that. You know, no. I didn't say that. But yeah, let's talk about the Curse of Naxxramas, which was released all throughout of last month, I believe.
Yep.
Released through all of last month. It
probably would have made a more thematical sense to release it during October for like Halloween.
I know.
But I don't think people can much longer.
I actually imagine they chose to release it during the end of August. Like, if there was a reason, just because it's before school. Because
that makes sense. That does make a lot of sense.
You can't do a whole month event in the middle of school. Because, especially during October, I believe October is one of the prime midterm examination months.
Yeah.
Ironic, sadly enough.
Yeah.
So if you release it during October, it will be at an all-time low.
Yeah.
But if you do it just before school starts and the kids are trying to get their last minutes of gaming in,
yep, get those pennies coming in
exactly.
from the kids. Yep.
Especially,
although I didn't spend any money on Naxxramas because I just spent weeks before just like grinding gold.
Excellent.
Just saving up the gold from the daily quests. I wasn't really like grinding it particularly, just not spending it for arena runs or anything else.
That was excellent. That was exactly what they wanted. They want either your time or your money.
Yeah, but it doesn't take long to do like a quest that, say win 3 matches. That doesn't take long.
No. But yeah, let's talk about Naxxramas.
Okay.
So you've beaten just about all of it, right? So you got all the cards and everything.
All of it, yes, not just about. I have beaten all of it. All the bosses and on normal and heroic mode.
And you gotten all the damn cards.
Yep. And I got the special card back that you get from defeating all the heroic bosses.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yes. It's kind of like a greeny, patchworky type.
Oh, I've seen that with this
Yeah.
metal gray
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
with the green goop everywhere.
Yep. I
Yeah.
haven't, to be honest, I haven't seen many other people with it when I've been playing ranked and stuff. And I don't know if it's just because, I mean, I've only got to rank 14 or 15 this season so far. But I haven't seen many other people with it.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, you
So I
have
don't
to
know
be.
if it's just like people don't really care and they just did the normal versions of the bosses just to unlock the cards and then carried on, which is fine. You know.
All right. Let's talk about this right now. So, in Naxxramas, you play through it normally and you get cards.
Yep.
But if you play through all of heroic mode, you spend all that time, reconstructing decks. All you
Yeah.
get is a card back.
Yeah.
There's not even a quest for it to earn you some sort of tangible.
No.
Well, I say tangible, but
No. I was expecting a little more than just a card back, to be honest.
I would have settled for
Because
golden
if you go
versions.
into the solo adventures bit into Nax,
Yep.
and just click on the heroic bit and just go in. You don't have to actually try and take it on.
Mhm.
But if you look on the right hand side, there's like a little. So you got the three bosses, and then on the right of the three bosses, you got these little spaces.
Oh yes. These spaces
So
here.
when I defeated the first three in Arachnid Quarter, I was expecting something to appear in that
Mhm.
little space. It's like, well, why else would that space be there?
I
And nothing appeared there, and I was like, oh,
I feel
okay.
that since this was based in Unity, a lot of this was copied and pasted.
yeah, probably.
So they like
So yeah, but I just felt a bit cheated because when you look at it, you kind of expect there to be something there, and there wasn't.
nope. There was
And
not.
I thought maybe there would be like you get a golden card for defeating. Arachnid on heroic. I thought maybe you get like a golden Mayexna, which would be pretty cool.
Yes. Or
but,
gold. Yeah, like
or like a golden Lotheb for defeating Plague Quarter. That's what I was expecting.
it doesn't even
or
have to
something.
be. It doesn't even have to be like golden version of the normal cards that you get. But I would have settled for golden legendaries.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. But no, just a card back. I did feel a little cheated after spending the amount of time and effort to do it.
Yeah, Eniko is
'Cause-
right. That is basically troll space. There's nothing ever going to be there.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Yep.
It will never. That's just blank. They might as well just put cobwebs over that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's dead space.
Yep.
Like, why would you do this to us? And all we get is a card back? I'm like, this is one of the things where it'd be, if I have the time, I'll do it. But I don't feel any particular drive.
No, well, no, you don't need to. I mean, it is just a card back. It's not like you're
Yeah.
going to miss out on anything. I mean, doing the normal modes, obviously, you get cards for every time you defeat a boss, and for each class challenge you do, you
Yep.
get a new card. So there's
Yep.
incentive for you to actually do them. But yeah, I mean, why bother doing heroic mode, really?
I mean, like, I don't. Why? Hey, I like
Words.
Dead Space
Words, Vin.
3.
Words.
I like Dead Space 3, Andres. I played through with my best friend. I liked it, but heroic mode, you need to give an incentive to actually do it.
Yeah, I think with Blizzard, they often use stuff like bragging rights as a reward.
Not even.
Because they do that in World of Warcraft a bit as well. They're like, hey, why did you get this? And then you can have the bragging rights over your friends. It's like, well, that's not really a reward.
even with that, when you do a heroic dungeon or heroic raid, for example, in World of Warcraft, you get tangible rewards for it. You get weapons,
Yeah,
you get
yeah. I mean,
armor,
yeah,
you get
you do heroic raids, you get better loot.
yeah,
I mean, that's the whole
exactly.
point of doing heroic raids, so you can get the better loot.
Yeah, there's a reason to do it.
Yeah.
This you get a aesthetic card back.
Yep.
You know,
That being said, I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen anyone else that's had it yet that I've come up against in ladder. So
ooh.
that doesn't make me a better player because I still lose just as much as I did before. But I have a different card back to everyone else.
It's true, and card backs can be, pretty valuable. For example, I missed out on the only Asian card back. It happened between.
Did you get the Mr. Pandaria one?
No!
Red one.
I didn't know, first of all, I didn't know they were doing this whole card back thing back then. Until after it passed. I missed all the announcements on it. So I missed the only Asian
That was
card
like
back.
one of the better ones as well, in my opinion.
Yes! I got the June one. The June one is lovely.
I didn't like that one.
What?
I didn't like that one.
I liked it. It
I
was
like the green one. I like the purple one.
Black Temple, Naxxramas,
Yep.
and now
It's
we
the
have
Ice
Ice Crown. Ice Crown looks very clean. Whoever designed Ice Crown, good job.
Well, they all look good. I mean, they all look great in their own special way.
You say as
apart from the rainbow one, I really don't like that one. But that's something. I mean, that is something that the Blizzard and Hearthstone have done really well. Is just make everything look good.
it's so
I mean, I really like the way that they've done like the foil cards with like the golden
Yes.
thing with the slight animation on it.
which I actually do have.
I really like the way that they've done that. There you go. There's a good example of one right there.
Yeah.
And
As compared to its normal still image thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
These
it's
are
good that
great.
they put that in because they could have quite easily just not bothered to put golden cards in, and I don't think anyone would have really missed it particularly. But it's just a nice little touch. I came up against a Warlock deck not too long ago, who had got the golden portrait,
Oh, okay.
and he
Yeah.
he had an entirely golden deck.
Oh my god.
Every card that he played was golden, and I was
So-
like, "You clearly just play
Just
you clearly
this.
just play Warlocks and nothing else."
So, for those of you guys who don't know, there are standard regular portraits like this, which are not animated at all. The token button is wooden brown, and the only way to get golden, holofoil character sheets is to win 500 games.
Yep.
As
that
you can see,
particular-
I have not won
That's
500
not 500 overall. That's 500 with that one specific
yes.
character.
So basically, you have to play only that character.
Yeah.
If
Obviously,
you
you can
want
play
to get
variations. You could play lots of different types of Warlock deck if you wanted to play Warlock, but you'd still have to use a Warlock deck.
I would be bored out of my mind.
I've only ever seen Warlocks and Hunters, unsurprisingly, that have
Really?
yeah, Warlocks and Hunters are the only two that I've come up against that have had golden portraits.
Honestly, Warlock is the only one I'm not surprised with because there are so many winning decks with the Warlock.
Well, yeah, but you could say the same about Hunters. I mean, we were discussing Hunters earlier.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, let's use that as a transition to get into the new changes.
Okay.
I actually don't have Leeroy, or a lot of the cards.
Yeah,
but,
Andres. I think they were talking about possibly doing that at some point. I think that's going to be a thing for the future. I don't know. I don't know all the details of it because I think it's still something that they're toying with. But I think they were talking about possibly having Varian Rin as like another warrior. So instead of Garrosh, you play as the Alliance King.
Or for example, have like Alliance versus Horde, because Garrosh is Horde.
Yeah,
And you
I
got
think that's what they
Varian.
were talking of possibly doing something like that in the future, but I don't know
And I'm
the exact
sure,
details, because I think it's just something that they're kind of like it's in the pipeline that they may or may not do.
and I'm sure there's like a Tauren version of the
Yeah,
druid,
yeah, there is.
but
There's
like
I forget what their names are because it's been such a long time since I've played.
World of Warcraft. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been
played properly anyway.
I've
But
been
you could
so
have like
tempted.
the Blood Elf leader for the other paladin.
Oh yeah,
'Cause,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you could have him as them, and you
I
could have
don't.
like one of the whoever the leader of the Stormwind Intelligence, the SI7 thing, as the other rogue,
Mm,
possibly. I'm not sure who you'd have as a hunter though,
yeah, there are not a
because
lot
Rexar's
of.
kind of
Oh,
not necessary. Although he's affiliated more with the Horde, technically he's not
he's
either.
neutral.
Yeah,
He's
technically.
relatively neutral. You could have a dwarf. There are plenty of
Yeah,
dwarven
I
hunters.
guess. Yeah, you could. Yeah,
Gul'dan, I don't know. I don't know who you'd have
he's quite a
as.
legendary warlock. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, what kind of warlock? What kind of legendary warlock would you have on the alliance side?
Well, exactly. There aren't really any, as far as I can remember.
Hmm. Shamans, I'm sure you.
It'd be another dwarf, wouldn't it? You
It,
just end up with lots of dwarfs on there.
just replace everything with dwarves and gnomes. They should do that for April Fools. Just replace all the character portraits with dwarves and gnomes in like shoddy masks.
That could be quite entertaining.
Like Uther Dwarfbringer is just a dwarf with like
Yep.
some metal taped onto his body or something
Especially
like,
if they don't tell anyone about it and they just do it.
or just like all. You could just do it all gnomes because everyone fucking hates gnomes. Just gnome everything,
Yeah.
and it'll be in these exact same poses. It's just obviously shoddy.
Yeah.
Like the armor is basically like a manhole the sewer covering instead of a breastplate here. And
Like
you
a
would have
manhole cover.
yeah, and he'd have like those blue crystal goggles instead of like shining blue eyes, and it'd be really like cartoonish and slightly badly drawn.
That
Just
would be epic.
I just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Just gnome everything and just make it as silly and as non-serious as possible. Like these could be like green fish or something like that. Like,
I like that idea. Just holding a couple of green fish.
yeah, it's just the gnome rogue, like a fisherman or something like that. And this one, instead of like him holding the fire in his hand, it's his beard that is on fire. And he has a very surprised look on his face.
Like it.
So yeah,
Like
for April Fools, Blizzard, if any of you are watching, which probably not, get on this. Just have fun with it. April Fools, man. Like Hearthstone beta came out for public release way after April Fools. So this would be a great strong opening. Just make everything gnomes and have them like have no idea what the hell they're doing.
Andres, no, they didn't have dwarven shamans when the game started, but they have got dwarven shamans now.
Oh, they've opened up a lot of things.
I think that was since Cataclysm. I'm pretty much sure it was when Cataclysm came out. They introduced dwarven shamans.
Yes, I want to say yes. It's like fireball. Seriously, just have fun. Just have fun with everything. Like
right, so we were talking about the changes
yes.
to two cards in particular that they've done, or they're doing this week.
Boom.
Yeah, this is quite a big deal for anyone that has played Hunter decks in the last. Well, how long has the game? How long has the game been out?
It has been out.
It's been a long time. Well, it feels like
June.
It's been a long time.
June
Of last year.
June of last year. Oh no! Wait.
God.
So they've already been
So
through.
they've
April
already
Fools.
done they've already done an April Fool's. I was thinking that. I was thinking, I'm sure it's been out for.
It feels like it's not been out for a long time. It's not been out of beta for that long.
No, it didn't. It hasn't been out of beta for very long.
But yeah, it's been
Yeah.
the beta the open no not open beta closed beta. Closed beta has been out since last June.
Wow.
And they
Okay.
opened up the beta sometime in January, I want to say. So yeah, they opened it up sometime in January. Now, originally the Starving Buzzard was a 2-cost, 2-attack, 2-health creature,
That's right.
which means that it wasn't. It's basically the same ranking as other cards of this cost. Because
Yeah, the stats. It was never really used for the stats, though.
no, but in terms of survivability, it would normally be, just as difficult to take care of as most other units.
Yeah.
However, Blizzard noticed that since Starving Buzzard had so much survivability, it was able to stay on the board for much longer, and hunters were able to draw a lot more cards out of it. It got to the point where it was sort of being overplayed. So,
yeah, it was one of those cards that they would put down. It was like the first card they put down,
yes.
and if you couldn't take care of it straight away, you would probably end up losing as a result, because they could just churn out cards constantly, and if they played lots of low-cost creatures, they could cycle through those cards really quick.
Keep in mind,
and with their traps and stuff that they used as well, like freezing trap or explosive trap, trying to get rid of that stuff, unless you had like direct damage, like a mage's spell, like a frostbolt or something, it was just almost impossible to get rid of.
Now, keep in mind, this was when it was a 2/2, it was actually being played during the time when this was much more powerful.
Oh yeah, it was.
Unleash the Hound used to give all of your beasts +1/+1 and charge. That was being used in combination with a whole lot of cheap monsters.
Yep.
So what you would basically do is turn, I don't know, 7 or something like that? Turn 5, turn 7? You would play this and then a whole bunch of cheap creatures? Or you'd have a whole bunch of cheap creatures already on the field. And then you'd play this to give them all +1/+1 in charge. And you get so much card draw off of this guy. You basically refill your entire hand. And that was ridiculously powerful. Yep. So they decided to make the Starving Buzzard have less efficacy as well as this. But we'll get to this later. So they dropped the Starving Buzzard down to 1 health, which basically means everything and its mother can take care of it.
Yep.
With little difficulty. And what you saw was a actual downward trend of it being used because hunters weren't able to cope with it for a while.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, for a long time, people weren't really sure what to do with it.
But now we have some new changes because apparently hunters are still overdrawing on it in combination with the
Unleash the Hounds.
Yeah, Unleash the Hounds.
Yeah, if you're not careful, it's quite easy to overdraw and then end up burning cards as a result.
So
I haven't done that myself, fortunately. I came very close in a game the other day.
Yet.
And I was like, I think I've miscounted.
Yes.
I think I've done something really wrong.
You've made a horrible mistake.
Yeah, but fortunately it was okay.
So the meta has since changed where hunters, instead of playing a lot of weak monsters, they wait for their opponent to play a lot of monsters.
Yeah.
And then they would wait until turn 5 to play both the Starving Buzzard and Unleash the Hounds at the same time. So for example, if your opponent has 4 minions on the board, you'll get 4 hounds, but in addition to those 4 hounds, you draw 4 cards, thanks to the effect of Starving Buzzard.
Yep.
Apparently that's still overpowered.
Well, it can be, because of the amount of control that hunters have. I mean, if you've got a couple of Hunter's Marks in your hand, then
Oh,
that
yeah.
means that 2 of your Unleash the hounds are going to be able to take out anything that's on the board, regardless of how much health it's got.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're like 8/8 giants or the Ironbark Protector that druids get.
Because for those of you
But
who
you,
don't
you
know,
just use a Hunter's Mark that will reduce its health to 1, and your 1/1 hound will just take it out.
yep.
And it's a 0 cost. So even if you're playing on turn 5 and you use all your mana, you can still use your Hunter's Mark.
Now,
Also, some people play it on turn 6 and combo it with a Timberwolf, which
Oh.
give all your other beasts +1 attack, which then means that all your 1/1 hounds are actually a 2/1, so they actually do a lot more damage.
so what are they doing to the buzzard, Matt?
They are making it a 3 attack, 2 health minion, which you might think, well, they're buffing it. But they're making it cost 5 mana, which is huge difference.
Yep.
I'm
Point
not
of
sure how people are going to be able to react to that.
let's do a point of reference here for how powerful 5-cost mana monsters normally are. Whoops, I went too far. There we go. This is a 5-cost
Yep.
mana.
5 for 5.
Yep, that has stealth, so it's basically invisible.
Yeah.
Or say this. 3, 4, and you have a 2/2.
Yep.
Or hell, my personal favorite, this one, which is kind of an exception, but still.
Yeah, that is a bit of an exception.
But normally the stat line is,
You'd
it's
expect at least one of the numbers to be a 5,
yes,
really.
yep.
Or I guess the
The total stat lines,
Nightblade is a 4/4 for 5, but
it
which
deals
isn't all that great.
it
But it
deals 3
deals
damage.
3 damage straight away, and it is only a basic card.
Basically, one of the stats has to be 4 or higher.
I would expect that to be the case on a 5-cost card.
I would actually be more comfortable if they turned it into a 2/3 instead of a 3/2. Because if you if you make it a 2/3,
Give it a little bit more survivability, but
yes.
I still don't think that's
Oh, it's still crap.
yeah.
It's still it
Yeah,
will be
'cause
even.
You're essentially making it the same as a 2-cost or even a 3-cost creature. Is basically you're giving it the stats of that.
Yep. And its ability will be even less helpful because how are you going to cast anything before it dies?
Yep. I mean I guess you've got to try and compare it to other card drawing mechanics of like other decks. So, for example, a rogue has sprint, which is draw 4 cards for 7
Yeah.
mana.
Give me a second. Oh, wait. There we go.
Yeah,
I actually
4
had
cards for 7.
I actually had a friend come up to me and say, "Well, they've made it an 8-cost unreliable sprint because you would have to combo it with Unleash the Hounds for maximum efficacy."
Well, yeah, but as I mentioned earlier, it's only going to be effective if your opponent already has minions on the
That's
board.
why he said variable sprint.
Yeah.
So
Because
it's
sometimes if your opponent's only got 1 minion on the board, then it's hardly worth using. That being said, it might mean that people use it in a different way and use it more how it almost how it used to get used, where they would put it out and they would just use it to combo off of the old way of doing stuff, where you just put out other beasts.
I don't really see how feasible it is to use right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be someone that's going to go, oh, well, we could just do this, and it'll be fantastic. And people are like, oh, yes, that's amazing. But I use in one of the decks that I've been using recently, it uses the 5-cost Hunter Rhino with the 2/5 with charge. I forget what it's called. Tundra Rhino. There you go. That gets shut down really quick. Really, really quick. And that's got 5 health.
Oh yeah, it's basically it's a soft taunt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is essentially what is going to happen to the Starving Buzzard.
except it's considerably weaker.
Exactly.
At least
Exactly.
with the
This is why I'm like trying to figure out how they're going to make it any better.
I honestly think if they were going to nerf, I've told you this before we started. If they were going to nerf Starving Buzzard, turn it into, where is it? Come on, I know I have one. Turn it into a Cult Master. When one of your other beasts dies, draw a card. You know, you can make it a 3-cost 2/2. All right, and turn it into a Cult Master.
Yeah, but then you'll end up with a Starving Buzzard Scavenging Hyena combo where you just kill off a load of low-cost beasts to draw cards and to buff up your other. If they wouldn't be able to have when one of your minions dies, they wouldn't be able to have that mechanic work for 2 different hunter things. They have to have a bit of variation.
Then I don't. I just don't feel comfortable making it cost that much.
It does seem a little excessive. But then, you know, Starving Buzzard has been probably the one changed, or the one card that's been changed the most out of all of the ones that we've had.
Total changes right now, including this one, would be like 3 changes.
So
most of them,
I would imagine that it's going to get changed again at some point.
because some hunter along the way is going to figure out a way around this meta, and he'll just like, you know what?
I don't know that they can though. I really don't think that they can.
Well, I would imagine a hunter could play a delay game. You know, like just
like a super control deck.
yeah, just super control up until you get to like turn 8 through 10, and then for end game stuff, then you do Starving Buzzard with all the card draw. Basically, when you hit to end game, either you are in a solid position or it's top decking, right?
Yeah.
So a hunter, if he's smart, at end game would hold on to Starving Buzzard, you know, and whatever beast he can find, and then use that for card draw to refill the hand.
I suppose if he used like a mixture of like traps and kind of spells for removal,
Yeah.
and didn't really play much else, maybe a couple of weapons, and just concentrated on removal and stuff, he could be okay. Maybe put a few of the taunts out. And then just save some of his other things for later in the game. That could work.
And I would imagine that combines quite well with Sludge Belcher. You know, taunts that spawn taunts. You know, just hold on to that late game, and then when both you and your opponent are basically top decking, you play the Buzzard with whatever beast you can, you have that small, tangible advantage.
Yeah. See, the other thing that they could do is go back to the using lots of small creatures.
Exactly. It would shift the meta backwards.
Because you'd be playing one big kind of high-cost creature or mid-cost creature, and then combo it with stuff like Timberwolves, Stone Tusk Boars, Web Spinners, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Maybe even Scavenging Hyena, just to try and get lots of smaller creatures out to try and generate card draw. It is an unusual change, and I'm not quite sure why they decided on it. I mean, I know it did kind of need a bit of a nerf because it was just ridiculous. The amount of times I've come up against hunters, you know, it's a staple of a hunter deck. You know, almost every single hunter deck you'll ever play or play against will have Starving Buzzard, Unleash the Hounds, Timberwolf.
I mean, hell, I think I have it in my own. Uh, oh, old World of Warcraft friend. Um,
Yeah, two
yeah, I do.
Timberwolves,
I've two.
two Starving Buzzard,
Yeah, two Starving
and
Buzzards.
only one Unleash the Hounds though.
One Unleash the Hounds.
But
I
you know,
don't know.
it's a staple of any hunter deck at the moment. You know,
Yep.
you'd be silly not to use it.
Oh, I have the Oasis Snapjaw Houndmaster combo
Mm-hmm.
right there. Good combo. It's basically an anti-priest combo. It's like screw you.
Yeah. Although you can't
See.
play it. If you play it turn 8, you might be risking getting mind controlled. But
Do I have Lothab? No, I don't. I have Lothab in a couple decks.
yeah, Lothib is a fantastic card.
Do I have you in here? Yeah, there we go. There we go. This
Yep.
is a weird warrior deck, but I've managed to make do with it.
I don't know if you saw my latest big deck player. That was a weird warrior deck as well. It's a new pirate deck that somebody come
Oh, the
come up
pirates
with,
are coming back.
and it doesn't work all the time. It's not the most reliable of decks,
Pirates
but
are
it
such
is
a weird
it is good fun.
theme.
Well, it was good fun mainly for the fact that most people, because pirates hardly ever get used like as a proper thing. Blood Sail Raiders get used quite a lot because it's a pretty cool card for a warrior to use.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, there aren't really that many. There aren't really that many pirates. You occasionally see a Dread Corsair get used.
Simply because you can play him on what, turn 3, I believe.
Depends on what weapon you've got. In this pirate deck, because you've got the new warrior weapon that you get from Naxx, which has 4 attack,
Yeah.
you can effectively play that plus your Dread Corsair on the same turn. Because your Dread Corsair then doesn't cost anything at all, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you don't really see many pirate get used very often. So as you're kind of going through constructed and ladder or whatever, most people don't really know how to react to it because they don't see it very often. You know, you see zoo decks all the time, and you see handlock decks all the time, and you kind of know within the sort of first 2 or 3 turns
What you're going to be playing against.
what you're going to be up against if you've been playing long enough.
Okay, so Dapkick poses an interesting question. Even though Hearthstone is released, so I've never played this game, is it worth playing now, even if they may change things, or should I wait till everything is quote-unquote fixed? As in all the nerfs and buffs and
I
everything.
don't think it's ever going to be fixed in quotation marks because the meta changes so much, and the Hearthstone devs have openly said, people have come up with combos and decks and stuff that they'd never thought of when they were putting the game together.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that unpredictability to it that will mean that it's never truly fixed. There's always going to be an element of balancing that's going to need to be done. I guess that's the same with almost every single kind of competitive online game, regardless of whether it's a CCG or a Dota type game or anything like that. There's always going to be slight changes that are going to need to be made. There's going to be some things that are weaker and some things that are stronger, depending on how they're getting used. So I don't think it's ever going to be fixed. But as far as starting to play the game, it's free to play. You don't have to spend any money on it, so there's no reason why you shouldn't give it a try at least. The introduction of the daily quests means that you can earn gold to buy packs or buy arena passes fairly quickly. I guess if you can complete each of your daily quests throughout the week, you can probably buy a pack of cards or say buy an arena run each week. I mean, obviously what you're going to be doing is trading real money if you want to use that for time. So if you don't have a lot of time and you just want to buy a whole bunch of packs in one go, how much is that in dollars?
$50 for 40.
So $50 for 40 packs. So what you're doing there is effectively trading your money for time. Because if you don't want to spend any money, it's going to take you a lot longer to acquire these cards than it would otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as whether a game is going to be truly fixed, I don't know if it'll ever get to that point. They aren't making as many changes now as they used to. Since it came out of beta, they haven't made quite as many changes as they were making, and I think they're kind of at a point where it's fairly standard now. I think everything is pretty much in its place. But with the introduction of new cards that they're going to be bringing out, there's always going to be a few tweaks that need to be made.
So Matt, I have a question for you. There are basically in my opinion, there are two kinds of ways to balance a game. Either you do what Blizzard is doing right now and adjust a card directly, or if you notice with the release of the new expansion, what they've indirectly done is sort of balance the game out by having new cards that shift the meta.
Yes.
So
I think we'll probably see more of that happening in the future than cards getting changed.
I hope so too, because honestly, this is much more fascinating.
Oh yeah, it makes it much more interesting. More interesting.
For example, a lot of these, quite a few cheap cards here have battle cries.
Yeah.
However, I noticed once I tossed in one of these cards right here, where it makes it more difficult for a minion with battle cry to be played, that I was able to take control of the early game a lot faster.
Yep.
And also, for example, when you play against a warlock, Scrolls mostly has new cards added that adjustment. Yeah, like that. I would much prefer just dropping in new cards, shaking things up a lot more than making minor tweaks here and there. It's, first of all, for the players who have come to grow accustomed to the way their cards are right now, that's a big upheaval for them, because then either their cards are weaker or they just have different effects that they don't have a feel for yet. So I would much prefer card games add different cards that shift the way the game is played.
Yeah. I think it's a lot more interesting for all the players, regardless of whether you're one of these people that goes for legendary each season, or if you just play fairly casually.
Mm-hmm.
I think adding new cards with different mechanics and stuff can just make everything a lot more seem fresh and more interesting in general.
For example, I noticed when I was playing against a Zoolock, a warlock that plays a lot of low-cost creatures, having one of these was actually a pretty good boon, because it shuts down a lot of that for at least the first 3 turns. Think about it. How many low-cost creatures does a warlock have? This one has battle cry. It would cost 4. This one of the staples, would cost 3.
Yeah, if you can play that if you can play your Weblord fairly early, because that's almost always a turn 1 play.
Yes.
How much is the Weblord? Is that
2?
Is it 2 cost?
2.
So if you went, the only earliest you get him out is turn 1, but if you go second.
But depending on whether or not, even if it doesn't negate the Flame Imp, it negates Abusive Sergeant and a lot of other Battlecry minions.
Yeah, there are a lot of Battlecry minions as well, which I think is why they put that particular effect on that card. Although saying that, I don't see many people running that card.
What, Abusive Sergeant or Narrow?
No, the Weblord.
I believe that's just because it negates a lot of their own effects. For example, in my Druid here, which was honestly a lot of heavy hitters, which is a lot of heavy hitters that don't have any particular battle cry effects, it was a great boon, because I'm not negating my own cards. I'm just negating their cards. You know?
Yeah, that's right. It's a similar sort of thing to the Yeah, the Venture Mercenary. Yeah, yeah.
Ventrico Mercenary is not Battlecry.
No, no,
It
but
is.
it's a similar sort of effect in that it affects your minions as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those ones where if you're not running that many cards with Battlecry, then it's fantastic for you. I suppose if you were to put it in, say, a deck that runs more Death Rattles,
That would be fine.
then that would be great.
Yep. Looks like Smexy Pantstorm says, looks like Blizzard will be coming out with class theme raid. Nax is Warlock related. Did they say that anywhere?
I haven't read that or heard that anywhere at all. And I wouldn't say that Naxxramas was necessarily Warlock related.
I would say if you were to lock it down to a theme, I would say yes, it's most Warlock related. Like if you were to lock, if you were to
technically, it's all to do with the Death Knights and stuff, but there isn't a Death Knight.
there, yeah, it'd be Warlock would be the closest.
So
Actually, I saw a tweet out from Amaz, who
Right.
he's a fairly well known Hearthstone player.
yeah,
Apparently he was doing some class designing for Blizzard, and he was designing a Death Knight.
oh really?
Yes. Let me see if he had it on his.
Because when I've read stuff before about them adding additional classes, they're always like, oh, the UI, it wouldn't fit the UI, we'd have to change the UI around and blah 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 blah, and they make it sound like it was a lot more hard work than we initially might think it is, because we mostly think that, you know, it's just adding a new thing in, but then you've got to add in all the necessary cards to go with that particular deck as well.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do you have to create the hero and the hero power, you also then have to have all the
class cards.
all the class cards as well.
Yep.
And not just the cards, but then their abilities and their costs. And I imagine it would be a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I've not really heard that much about them adding additional.
Yeah, I haven't either, but it'd be very interesting to see a Death Knight.
It would, but then you got to wonder who they would use. I guess there isn't an Arthur's card already, is there?
No.
There's no Arthur's.
There's no Arthur's card.
Because that's the other thing, is like a lot of
They
people.
can't be their own cards.
No, well that's it. That's it. I mean, you couldn't have like for the hunter, like the alternate hunter deck, you could have Sylvanas, because she used to be I guess
She was a ranger, not a hunter.
a ranger. Yeah. But you can't have Sylvanas because there's a Sylvanas card.
Yes.
And people were talking about other solo adventures, like in the raid style from World of Warcraft, and other raids that they could do, and people were like, "Oh, you could do Black Temple." I was like, "No," because
Illidan's a
card.
card. Yeah, Illidan's already a card.
Like, oh, you could do Molten Core, but Ragnaros is already a card.
A lot of these are already cards.
You'd have to be like, well, how are we going to go about doing this? It's like, if they were going to do a Death Knight class and have Arthas as the class kind of hero, then it kind of means that you wouldn't be able to do Ice Crown as a solo adventure, because Arthas has to be the end boss.
Oh my god! What if that's how you get the character?
That could be potentially awesome.
That would be so fucking radical.
That would be very cool.
Dude, if that's how you get the new Death Knight character, you have to play through. Like, you don't just buy him like a casual. You want this character? You want this character? You gotta work for him. You know what? If that was a heroic reward, I would go for that.
But then you're yeah. See, now you're treading on dangerous territory there. Because then with
Okay, all right.
way the Blizzard have been going lately, it's like they want to try and make things as accessible to everyone as
Okay,
possible.
all right. Then let's not make it heroic. Let's make
Yeah, doing it on normal, I think
normal.
is
Yeah.
probably pushing it a little bit
No,
because
no.
because it means that people that can buy access to that can get him, and if you don't buy access to it, you don't. So
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would really fare in a free to play.
I would think it would work pretty well because normal mode is fairly accessible. It's pretty accessible.
Yeah, it's
And
still 700 gold is a lot of gold to save up if you don't play a lot. I mean, I was talking earlier about
well,
if you do your daily quests for a week, you should be able to afford to get into an arena run, or you've got a total of 160 gold there. If you finish all those this week, then you've got an arena run.
hmm
But then, provided you get 160 gold each week, it's still going to take you. It's still gonna take you a little while, isn't it, before you get to 700 gold to open a wing?
Oh, but still, like that was the concept of that is fascinating though.
I would love to see Karazhan, but again, they've used some of the cards.
They haven't used Medivh. What if we have Medivh as one of the secondary mages?
I don't think Medivh would lower himself to be known as just a mage.
Well, I don't know. We saw him. He's pretty humble in Warcraft 3.
Yeah, but in Warcraft 3, technically he's dead?
I don't think
Question mark?
death does not scare him.
I'm pretty sure that he's already dead by that point, and he's just it's his kind of magical self that's.
And also, like, the whole concept of Hearthstone is really just making fun of the whole Warcraft universe.
Well,
Just
yeah,
the whole like you would never have these characters sitting down across from each other playing cards.
no, but then that's the kind of the charm, and there's humor put all throughout it, especially during Naxx when you're getting trolled by Kel'Thuzad the whole way through.
So
Every time you just before you start a boss, he'll give you a little bit of a dig in the ribs, and then if you defeat that boss,
he'll be complaining.
No, I can't believe you did that.
Like
and the bad puns, the really bad puns.
They're so bad.
But that level of humor, I think, is done very well, and I think they need to continue doing that kind of bringing that element of humor into it, because you can't really take it seriously, because it is essentially a card game. You're not doing battle on the battlefield, with an army of soldiers behind you.
Maybe
you're technically sitting in a tavern.
Yeah.
with maybe a flagon of mead,
just
next to an open roaring fire, playing a card game.
But honestly, I would not be surprised if not to get the new class, to at least get alternate versions of heroes. Like if you really want,
I've heard them say that they were thinking of possibly doing alternate versions of heroes. That's the thing that I remember them saying. It was a long time ago, and I don't know whether that's actually going to happen or not. But I know that they've mentioned it, and it's something that they've thought about doing. But I mean, it wouldn't take that much. I wouldn't have thought. It's a little bit of extra art, and getting the guy who does the voice acting for the innkeeper to say somebody else's name.
He has been doing that with Naxx. That's
So
true.
I don't think it'd be that difficult just to change a portrait and
I
maybe
get,
make a golden portrait of that particular thing. But as far as another class, just the way that the UI is set up makes me think that maybe that's not going to happen.
yeah, that's true. They would have to.
Because
Well,
you've got nine, and nine fits nicely in the way that the UI is. Adding one extra, you'd have to change the entire UI to make it fit.
I don't. I don't think it'd be that bad. I think
How would
maybe
you fit
some.
an extra one? How would you fit an extra one thing into that?
Well, you. They could cop out and do like a simple scroll bar.
What, and then have three, 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 and then one?
Yeah.
That would look terrible.
Well, it wouldn't be like 333 and then one. It'd be like it'd be a live scroll bar. So when you reach the bottom, that's it. So it'd be like
Oh,
three
I see.
three and
So,
then one.
right, okay, I get you.
Yeah.
So or do you mean like so it's just a list
Yeah.
scroll down rather
It's
than having columns and rows?
no,
Just have
no.
one
It'd
list.
just be a simple, 3 by X list like this with a simple scroll bar. I think that
Yeah,
would
but
be
you'd
the.
still have three, 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 and then one on its own at the bottom. And I don't think that they would want that.
They would if they wanted to leave themselves open for additional characters. For example, like I'm sure
Yeah,
there are a couple.
but then they're gonna have to try and think of other characters to bring in.
Well, that's
There's only one other class. There's only one other class in World of Warcraft.
there is
that
only
they
the
could
monk
possibly
class.
bring in,
Yeah,
and that's a monk. And although we don't have Chen Stormstout
oh
in card form,
no, we do not.
so they could technically do that
Yep.
as it stands at the moment.
Or they
it
could
would
have
still, it would
Terran
still be a
Zoo.
bit weird.
It. I imagine there would have to be a lot of coordination between this game and World of Warcraft. Or yeah, Panda Teddy Bear class. That's basically the monk.
Yeah.
There would have to be a lot of coordination between the two games, and I'm amazed at how well they've managed to make it work.
So far,
Really.
yeah, it's been fantastic.
Which, like, I imagine that they might be planning ahead for additional classes. They have the monk class.
I think they probably should. I mean, I think that most of these developers, especially with Blizzard, are usually sort of a good sort of 6 months ahead of what we see.
Exactly.
So anything that they've done in that we see in the next 6 months, they've probably already figured out and sorted out already.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of looking at this article to do with future kind of expansions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really classing Naxxramas as an expansion. They're just classing it as a solo adventure. And the next expansion, or whatever you want to call it, that they're going to be doing is it's just going to be a whole bunch of booster packs that contains around 100 new cards.
Whoa!
Yeah, that's a lot of cards.
Yes, I mean there were only a handful of cards from Naxxramas, and they've already changed the meta drastically.
Yeah.
I think actually 100 cards may be a bit too much. I mean, we had 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, but you probably won't get them as quickly as you do in Nax, because in Nax you could do a wing each week, and by the end of
and that would be 4 new cards. Well, no, 5. No, 6. 6 new cards because you'd have 2 class challenges.
Yeah.
So
But you'd get them all. You could do all that in 1 week, and you'd have those new cards that week. Whereas these are going to be booster packs, so it'll work, I imagine, in the same way as buying packs works currently, where you'll buy a pack, you'll get 5 cards in that pack, some of which will be brand new cards that you've never seen before. But once you've bought, say, 2 or 3, you might end up with triplicates or, of the same one. So I don't think it'll be I don't think you'll get those cards as quickly as you did during Nax. So it might be that some people get those cards a lot quicker.
Okay, guys, we are approaching an hour and 15 minutes. How about we take a 5 minute or 5 to 10 minute break, and we'll be back with some actual gameplay. What do you think, Matt?
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
All right, so gonna hook you guys up with some music, and we will be right back. Actually, wait, I have a break screen now. Boom, there we go. On break. Feel free to grab a drink, etc., etc. Let's hit you up with some World of Warcraft. No. No. I was about to say like World of Warcraft OST. No. Let's try. I don't know. Civilization 4. Why the hell not? Some nice chill music. Go up, stretch your legs, head to the loo, etc., etc. We'll be right back.